designed to this all the large aircraft. We designed to Part 25. If you hear people talking about Part 25 or CS 25, they are talking about airworthiness standards or airworthiness requirement or design requirement for transport category aircraft or large aircraft. So those are the two transport category aircraft, airplanes or large aircraft. Transport category airplane is terminology used by the US, and large aeroplane is used by the EASA. However, EASA for the European country. However, the content of the requirement are almost similar. So this, whatever you see on the aircraft is designed to this requirement, including the aircraft structure. You can see subpart C structure, subpart D design and construction. So for our structure repair, we focus more on C and D. So you need to satisfy the requirement of C and D. So let's see what is in the requirement. So subpart C, okay, we look at the requirement. We have loads, factor safety, strength information, and proof of structure. When you do your repair, you need to satisfy this 25301, 25303, 25305, 25307. So those are the requirements that you need to comply for you when you do the design. Okay. So let's look at 301. So 301 talk about the structure strength. So when you do the design, strength requirement is specified in terms of limit loads. So what your design is in the limit load, the maximum load to be expected in service. If we hear about limit load, the limit load is the expected load in service. And then you also will hear ultimate load that been talked about. I have been talking about this as well. You see the manual 8020 also has been talking about this, and you also have been hearing about this during your mechanics or material class. So ultimate load is the load that you design the aircraft to. The limit load is the load you operate the aircraft to. So the aircraft should not reach the ultimate load. So that's why for you to determine what will be the ultimate load of the aircraft, you know the limit load because that is the design load that you expected the aircraft to operate. You multiply by 1.5. So after you multiply by 1.5, the value that you get, those are the ultimate load. Your design is to that load, not to the limit load. If you design to the that load, limit load, ultimate load, you will get 50% insurance, 50% buffer, or 50% in zone. For example, if you are designing to 100, you wanted to carry 100 Newton of load, you do not design it to 100 Newton. The structure is not designed to 100 Newton. You design the structure to 150 Newton, which the aircraft will not reach that load. So if you divide by 150 Newton to 100, you got 1.5. So that ultimate load is something you will never experience in service, but you have to design it to that value for you to be able to have that margin of 50% of load. So this margin 50% is something you are not expected in service. It means that if you have overload the aircraft beyond the design load, beyond what the aircraft is expected to carry, is still be safe. That is what this ultimate load means. Any questions so far?
So 4K, sir.
No, sir. The 4K, sir.
Okay, now let's try to look at another requirement, factor of safety. So the factor of safety, unless otherwise specified, a factor of safety 1.5 must be applied to the prescribed limit load, which are considered external load on the structure. Again, the 1.5 that we always look for, it is in the design requirement, paragraph 25303. You have the same wording, the same requirement for other countries. If you go to Russia, if you go to India, if you go to any country, when you design the aircraft, as far as factor of safety is concerned, you will see the same requirement, which is 1.5. In fact, if you go to the A320 structure repair manual, it has stated that the factor of safety shall be 1.5. And your assignment, that's why at the end of the analysis on the stresses, I ask you to come up with a table. The table will be containing the factor of safety. So you divide your stress, failure stress, or the strength of the material to the stress that you determine from the analysis, and you should have 1.5. But if you don't get 1.5, I don't expect you redo it to explain, because this is not about getting it right. It's not about getting the value right. It's about to understand about the value. Okay, my class is more understanding. If you're unable to complete the numbers, you miss the results. However, if you are able to explain how you want to get the result, and that is still a good score. Okay, clear now? 1.5 is requirement. If you sign off the aircraft as engineer, and then the factor safety of the repair is below 1.5, you can be penalized. In Malaysia, the penalty will be a few thousand. I think can go up to 500,000 of fine, and you can be 5 years in jail. That's why whatever you do in aircraft, in designing and maintaining the aircraft, in designing the aircraft structure, you must make sure all these requirements are complied. If not complied, you still signing off the aircraft, you will be penalized because you can endanger people that fly the aircraft. In fact, you can endanger yourself. You may also fly the aircraft, endanger your family. So the authority put a higher fine for that, any form of violation from the requirements. Questions? Okay, those
Sir.
are the requirements. Yeah.
No question, sir.
Yes. Question? No question? Okay. Now, that is some. Okay, let's look at other aspect. See design and construction. C purely on the structure. For design and construction, subpart D of part 25, any subpart D of part 25 will be having the similar wording. If they are not, there is very slight difference. However, most of it will be similar. You can see here the type of material, fabrication method, the fastness, protection of the structure, accessibility, material strength property, special factors. Those are whatever stated here, you must comply. You must show that your repair, your design repair comply to this requirement. For example, we take very simple one, 609, protection of structure. So each part of structure must be suitably protected against deterioration of loss of strength in survey due to the weather, corrosion, and abrasion. That is the explanation why you need to paint, prime, cadmium plate, chrome plate, the aircraft parts. And you have to do the same for the aircraft structure, for the repair parts. For the design repair, for design or repair parts, for the fabrication of repair parts, you have to protect them, protected them from the environment, from weather, which is give you corrosion and abrasion. So that's why you can see everything is protected. If you see the old aircraft which they are flying with no paint, they are bare metal. However, those that bare metal has been coated with some coating, so still meeting the requirement of 25609. So this is what you have to do in your assignment. Also, there is also one question there. You have to show compliant to the requirement. What you need to do to show compliant, what is the industry been doing? They create compliant matrix. Okay. Create compliant matrix. Okay. We can say this compliant matrix. Then you have airworthiness requirements. For example, you go back and look at this protection of structure. First example. Okay. Okay, airworthiness, sorry. This should be airworthiness requirement. First column. Okay. We place in the first column the requirement, cut and paste, put it there. So the evidence requirement, first we need to tackle protection structure, first column. So all the first column will be talking about the evidence requirement. And then the second column is compliance statement. So obviously for the case of the repair, you will say that you are complied. And then you say paint and prime of the repair parts in according with the OEM manual. Because you are not allowed to generate a new process, you must go back and refer to the process of the OEM. Okay. So those always what we put in the compliance statement. Okay, always here. The next column will be reference. Reference is what do you do? Okay, to provide evidence. What are the Wait. So what are the evidence? So the evidence, what we do is we put the reference document. So for your assignment, I will suggest you, I would like to recommend you, on the first page, you put your title, the report title, you create reference document number and your name and the date that you issue. So those report number should be appear in this reference document column. Similarly, let's take one other example. Okay, say we talk about the fabrication methods. So fabrication method, for you to make the parts, you have to work, you have to do it based on the fabrication methods. And what about it? What is the requirement? The method of fabrication used must produce consistently sound structure. So for the repair, it's easier. We refer OEM methods of fabrication. So that is your compliance statement. So whatever document talking about cutting, drilling, riveting, you use OEM methods. Or else you have to create your method. It is possible for you to create your method. However, you have to take time to justify that method is produce a consistent sound structure. So whatever I'm showing you here is a compliant matrix. That's how we want to show compliant to the airworthiness requirement of the aircraft. Questions?
Sir, how to get this data, sir?
The data you can Google. You can go to Google, you ask for CS25 of AR25 for the design airworthiness requirement for transport category or airworthiness requirement for large aeroplane. To be exact, you can go to their FAA website, you go to EASA website, you can download the official document of this airworthiness requirement. So this is one of the assignment. You have to put this table for you to review the repair and whether you are able to comply to the airworthiness requirement to get the repair approved. Questions? No? Okay. I think I've covered that. What else to cover? I'll try to do one more. Okay. Let's go back to this C. Go back to the simple one. Data safety. Data safety. Data safety. What is your statement? Obviously, you should comply. Okay. And what is next? You refer to reports. I say again, you now having a report. Report having a proper number, proper name, number, owner, date issue. So those report that you refer to show compliance means that any calculation, anything that any evidence required to show the factor safety is 1.5 is inside the report. So that is how, that is what the report used for. The report used to provide evidence that all the analysis has been done to show compliant that the character safety of the design is 1.5.